A very good afternoon to you and welcome to the World News. We're reaching you live from our studios at SOUQ News TV. I am Oyin Priye Krumale. Let's begin with today's top stories. Nigeria in search for alternative market as Trump tariff takes effect. Still, Nigeria and China advance trade relations to unlock $2 billion maritime investment. And President Donald Trump and Cyril Ramaphosa engages another turn of trade talks as U.S. imposes a 30% tariff on South Africa. Brazil challenges President Donald Trump's tariff at the World Trade Organization. And in the world of sports, Oshala visits football academy, reaffirms uplifting young girls. Welcome back. Many thanks for joining us. Now, 15% United States tariff on imports from Nigeria will take effect on Wednesday. Has taken effect rather, but Nigeria appears largely unfazed with its sights set on regional and alternative markets. In an interview with the CNN on Wednesday, and what will be Nigeria's first official response since the tariff was announced, Jumoke Oduwole, Nigeria's Minister of Trade, described the U.S.-Nigeria trade relationship as mostly an energy trading relationship, citing efforts to strengthen other trade channels. The tone has shifted after a few months in April when Trump had initially placed a 14% tariff on Nigeria. Oduwole spoke on effects that include debt or destabilizing challenges to price competitiveness and market access for Nigerian businesses in the non-oil sector. The country is now bullish on its options. The trade minister told CNN that since she acknowledges the competitiveness of the U.S. market, but is also exploring other alternatives. Now, the House of Representatives Committee on Customs and Excise Duty has raised alarm over widespread revenue leakages linked to companies operating within Nigeria free trade zones. During an oversight visit to the Kano Jigawa command of the Nigerian Customs Service Committee, the chairman, Leke Abejude, revealed that several firms were engaged in sharp practices that have cost the country and the government billions of naira. Abejude explained that by law, the free trade zones and the companies are mandated to export at least 75% of their products, with only 25% allowed for sale in local market. This structure is intended to boost foreign exchange earnings and drive industrial growth. However, some companies flout this rule by selling large volumes locally without paying the required duties. He stressed that while the free trade zones operators can import raw materials duty-free for export production, any portion of goods diverted to the domestic market must attract applicable duties on those raw materials. Abejude also called for tighter enforcement and regulatory reforms to protect the national revenue. And now the Ministry of Finance Incorporated has revealed that the federal government's investment assets valued at 38.3 trillion naira are currently undergoing audits and reforms. The aim is to boost transparency and strengthen corporate governance in public enterprise. The MOFI's Chief Executive Officer, Dr. Armstrong Tagang, made the disclosure in Lagos on Wednesday during the inauguration of the 2025 Guidelines of Corporate Governance by the Nigerian Communications Commission. Tagang also noted that for many years, Nigeria did not take a clear path or comprehensive records of its public assets, making effective management and oversight very, very difficult. He said the ongoing reforms will ensure accountability, efficiency, and higher returns on government investment. He also stressed the need for ministries, departments, and agencies to align with corporate governance standards that promote openness and performance-driven management. The federal government, through the Ministry of Marine and Blue Economy, is advancing a Nigeria-China maritime strategy aimed at unlocking over $2 billion in shipping sector investment. The strategy presented to the Minister Adegboyega Oyetola at the ministry's headquarters in Abuja is designed to accelerate indigenous vessel ownership. expand maritime infrastructure, and position Nigeria as a regional shipping hub. The $2 billion investment initiative stems from a strategic collaboration between Nigeria and China in the Strategic Partnership and the Global Investment Advisory Committee, represented locally by Anambra Capital. Officials said the partnership will create thousands of jobs, enhance Nigeria's port competitiveness, and boost the nation's blue economy through targeted private sector participation. The government reaffirmed its commitment to maritime reforms and urged stakeholders to support the execution of the strategy, which is being seen as a critical step in diversifying Nigeria's economy and strengthen the global trade ties with China. Now, wife of the president, Senator Remi Tinubu, and the wife of the Anambra State Governor, Dr. Nonye Soludo, on Wednesday empowered 1,000 women in Anambra State with business grants under the Renewed Hope Initiative and Tony Elumelu Foundation. The Women Empowerment Program, the event held at the new Government House, Awka, marked the state rollout of the nationwide empowerment drive. Senator Tinubu had earmarked 500 women in every state to receive 50,000 naira grant, each to boost their small businesses. To expand the impact, Dr. Soludo supported an additional 5,500 women in the state with the same grant, bringing the total beneficiaries in the state to 1,000. The disbursement drew large attendance from indigent women across the state, each receiving 50,000 naira seed fund to grow their businesses. Speaking at the ceremony, Dr. Soludo praised Senator Tinubu for her commitment to empowering women and reducing poverty across Nigeria, describing the initiative as timely and impactful. The Forum for Commissioners of Power and Energy in Nigeria, representing the state governments, has called for the signing of interim power purchase agreement that would allow subnational utilities to procure electricity directly from the generation companies. The move discussed at the recent forum signals renewed interest in activating the eligible customer regulations introduced in 2017. This regulation permits qualified customers to bypass distribution companies and buy electricity directly from GenCos, provided they meet specific criteria. By advocating for interim PPAS, the states are positioning themselves to exercise this legal framework in bid to improve electricity supply and efficiency at the regional level. The forum demands reflect growing dissatisfaction with the performance of DISCOs and a broader push for decentralized energy management. If adopted, the policy shift could open up new investment opportunities and enhance state-level control of power infrastructure. It also raises questions about the future role of DISCOs within Nigeria's evolving electricity market. You're still watching SOUQ Business Landscape. I beg your pardon. You're still watching the world news on SOUQ News TV. We're back in a moment to stay with us.
Over the past 10 years, we've seen that the impact of many lawmakers have been underrated. If you are playing a pivotal role in enacting laws and shaping policies for your community, society, or nation, then this is for you. The People's Choice Legislative Excellence Award celebrates the individual achievement of lawmakers who have worked tirelessly to enhance the lives of their constituents and contribute positively to their entire well-being. Now, if you're wondering where this will be taking place, it will be taking place at Radisson Blu Dubai Creek on the 25th of September 2025. To take part in this award, all you have to do is send an email to souqnexus.com or send a message to the WhatsApp number scrolling on your screen. We want to see you at Radisson Blu Dubai Creek. Wouldn't you rather be there?
Hello Nigeria, hello Africa. Yeah, this is Sound Man. Keep watching SOUQ News.
My name is Babalola from Excel LED. Keep watching SOUQ News.
My name is Shepherd Michael Adewale Onofuye. I enjoy you all to always watch SOUQ News TV.
Hi, I'm Tom Boggaballs, and please keep watching SOUQ News.
Wale Seriki, SLG Lagos Island East, SOUQ News. Keep out watching them and keep a lookout for them. They're up and coming, and we're proudly to be affiliated with them.
You alone where they make me go crazy. This your love in the cool of my brain. You're my medicine, I need you all day. Yo, it's Blackface Nigeria, and you're watching SOUQ News TV. Keep it locked on this dial, don't change it. You know what I say? Blackface Nigeria, love no bad.
Welcome back. Many thanks for joining us. If you just joined us, it's the World News. We're reaching you live from our studios at SOUQ News TV. Now, South Africa President Cyril Ramaphosa has held a phone call talks with United States President Donald Trump to discuss bilateral trade. His office said on Thursday. The conversation comes as U.S. tariffs on South Africa goods took effect, with imports now facing 30% duty. This follows South Africa's unsuccessful attempt to strike a trade deal with Washington before Trump's August 7 deadline. According to Ramaphosa's office, both leaders agreed to allow their trade terms hold more detailed talks in the coming weeks, aiming to ease tensions and explore new terms of engagement. The new tariffs are a major blow to South Africa's export economy, which relies heavily on access to U.S. markets for products like citrus, wine, and manufactured goods. Now, still in South Africa, the country's currency has strengthened today, trading at 17,685 to the United States dollar, buoyed by rising global gold prices, a weakening dollar. This comes despite the United States imposing a steep 30% tariff on South Africa imports, the highest rate applied to any sub-Saharan African country. The commodity-linked ranked gains as investors sought refuge in gold, with analysts from the ETM Analytics noting that the dollar's pullback is enhancing emerging markets' currency appeal. Expectations of further interest rate cuts in the United States also contributed to the rand's momentum, while the new tariffs and trade pressure South Africa's position as a top gold producer is helping cushion the blow. Now, foreign reserves fell slightly to $65.1 billion in July, according to the central bank, as Johannesburg Stock Exchange top 40 index edged up by 0.6%. Now, Israel's Leviathan gas field operators have sealed a 14-year export agreement worth $35 billion with Egypt, marking a major shift in regional energy flows. The deal, led by the Newid Energy, will deliver 1,130 billion cubic metric tons of natural gas to Egypt's Blue Ocean Energy, beginning with 20 billion cubic metric tons in early 2026. The agreement represents one of the largest energy contracts in the Eastern Mediterranean Sea, and further cementing Egypt's long-term reliance on gas imports to meet domestic and export needs. The volume is expected to rise significantly after the completion of Leviathan expansion project, which would boost supply to 110 billion cubic metric tons for Israel. The deal strengthens its position as a regional energy supplier while unlocking long-term revenue and infrastructural investment for Egypt. It reinforces strategic energy security and supports its ambition to becoming a gas re-export hub for Europe and other markets. The People's Republic of China and the Bank of China increased its gold reserves for a 9th consecutive month in July, adding 60,000 troy ounces and pushing its total holdings to nearly 74 million ounces. The central bank has now acquired around 36 tons of gold since November 2024 as it intensifies efforts to diversify away from the United States dollar. This sustained buying has been a key factor behind gold's 30% rally so far this year. According to analysts' view, China's strategy as a deliberate hedge against geopolitical and currency risk, especially amid rising trade tensions with the United States. Now, Vietnam's exports surged 16% year-on-year in July to $42.3 billion, outpacing estimates as buyers rushed to beat a looming 20% United States tariff. The last-minute spike was driven by accelerated shipments across sectors including electronics, textiles, and furniture. The new tariff on Vietnamese goods is set to take effect on August 7th, prompting global importers to front-load orders. Exports also climbed 17.8% to $40 billion, reflecting strong demand for production inputs. Despite the export boom, Vietnam's trade surplus narrowed to $2.27 billion from June's $2.83 billion. Analysts want that the short-term gain may fade away once the tariff takes effect, potentially slowing export momentum in the coming months. Moving on, Sweden's core inflation rate declined to 3.1% in the month of July from 3.3% in June, a sharper drop than analysts anticipated. The data released by Statistics Sweden support expectations that the Riksbank may deliver another interest rate cut later in August to boost the sluggish economy. The reading came in below the 3.2% median forecast from economists and slightly above the central bank's own estimate of 2.8%. The decline strengthens the case for monetary easing as policymakers navigate persistent economic weaknesses, according to reports. We'll be back in a moment after this break. Do stay with us.
On the 19th of August 2025, Paris will come alive with the prestigious People's Choice Governors Awards taking place at the Gauche Hotel, Paris. The prestigious People's Choice Governors Awards is designed to celebrate governors who have contributed immensely to their states in different countries across the world. If you are a governor who's gone above and beyond to deliver transformative projects in your state and country, then this award is for you. To partake of the Governor's Excellence Awards this year taking place in Paris, all you have to do is send an email to soupnexus.com with the words, "I accept," and we will get right back to you. You can also send a WhatsApp message to the WhatsApp number scrolling on your screen right now. You don't want to miss Paris for anything, and we are looking forward to celebrating you and your achievements this year. So contact SOUQ Nexus to make that happen.
Welcome back. Many thanks for joining us. Now, Brazil has formally approached the World Trade Organization to contest fresh United States trade tariffs. imposed by President Donald Trump's government. Sources confirmed that on Wednesday, the move follows the enforcement of a steep 50% tariff on several Brazilian exports, a decision Trump linked to what he described as a witch hunt against the ally and Brazil's former president Jair Bolsonaro, who is currently on trial for allegedly plotting a coup. Sources within the President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva's administration told journalists that Brazil has requested consultations with the United States mission at the World Trade Organization. This marks the first step in the organization's dispute settlement process. Officials in Brasilia said that the tariffs are politically motivated and violate international trade rules. They argue that the measures could damage Brazil's economy and strain relations with its largest non-regional trading partner. The Lula government is seeking dialogue but has vowed to defend national economic interest through legal and diplomatic means. The United States President Donald Trump has imposed a 50% tariff on Indian goods, doubling previous rates in retaliation for India's continued purchase of Russian oil. The move, announced on Thursday, targets a wide range of exports and is expected to render many Indian products uncompetitive in the United States market. Analysts warn that the new tariff could slash India's gross domestic product by up to 1%, worsening its already slowing economy. The penalties arrive as India grapples with reduced industrial output and weakening exports, raising concerns among policymakers and global investors about the country's near-term economic stability. The trade escalation adds pressure to India's manufacturing sector, particularly textiles and machinery, which heavily rely on American markets. Economists suggest that unless resolved diplomatically, the tariff hike could trigger further global supply chain disruptions and intensify geopolitical tensions. Now, the United States Citizenship and Immigration Services has issued a public advisory urging all non-citizen immigrants to update their home addresses within 10 days of moving. The agency warned that failure to comply could result in missed critical mail, such as interview notices, requests for evidence, or case decisions, which could negatively affect immigration status. The agency clarified that updates made to the United States Postal Services do not automatically transfer to SOUQ's systems. All non-citizens except A and G visa holders and visa waiver program visitors are legally required to submit a change of address either through the SOUQ's online account or via Form AR-11 by mail. Updating addresses online is recommended for faster processing and broader case coverage, according to reports. Now, global equities advanced on Thursday as optimism over potential interest rate cuts in the United States and signs of easing geopolitical tensions in Europe lifted investor confidence. Japan's Topix index reached an all-time high, and major European indices, including Germany's DAX and France's CAC 40, also posted solid gains, buoyed by expectations of a Ukraine ceasefire and positive U.S. tech earnings. The markets shrugged off President Donald Trump's fresh tariffs, including a 25% duty on Indian imports and threats of a 100% levy on chips. Instead, investors focused on expectations that new dovish nominees to the Federal Reserve Board could drive a looser monetary policy, especially after weak economic data. U.S. S&P 500 futures rose by 0.3%, while the dollar weakened further in currency and commodity markets. The euro and sterling firmed ahead of a possible interest rate cuts by the Bank of England, while spot gold touched a two-week high of $3.376 per ounce. Analysts warned, however, that inflated stock valuation and persistent trade uncertainty still pose downside risk despite the market's upward momentum. U.S. President Donald Trump announced that billions of dollars in tariffs have begun to flow into the country following the implementation of new trade duties at midnight on August 7th. The development followed an executive order he signed last week, which triggered significant tariff hikes. Under the order, U.S. import duties jumped from 10% to between 15% and 41% for several trading partners. The tariff increases come amid rising global trade tensions, with many analysts warning of possible retaliatory measures and supply chain disruptions. Trump, however, insists that the move will protect American industries and generate substantial revenue for the United States economy, while House has yet to release details on which countries are most affected or the expected impact on consumer prices. Now, higher United States tariffs officially took effect on Thursday, backing a significant escalation in President Donald Trump's aggressive trade strategy aimed at restructuring global commerce under an executive order signed last week. Import duties jumped from 10% to between 15% and 41% across a wide range of goods from dozens of countries. Key United States allies, including European Union, Japan, and South Korea, now face a 15% tariff, despite securing prior deal with Washington, D.C. to avoid steeper penalties. India has been hit with a 25% duty, which is expected to double to 50% within 3 weeks if talks fail. Even more severe tariffs were imposed on Syria, Myanmar, and Laos, with rates soaring to 40% and 41% respectively. The White House says the tariffs are necessary to protect American industries, reduce trade imbalances, and pressure nations to agree to fairer terms. And now to sports. The Super Falcons striker Asisat Oshoala paid a touching visit to the Asisat Oshoala Academy in Lagos, reinforcing her commitment to using football and education to uplift young girls. During the visit, Oshoala engaged with academy players and staff, expressing gratitude for their support during the recent WAFCON tournament. The academy team had watched the final together, cheering in solidarity. Oshoala, a 6-time African Player of the Year, revealed plans to join the team's upcoming training session. Despite a tight schedule, she assured that the players of her continued involvement in their development. The AOA brainchild continues to serve as a safe space for girls to thrive in both sports and academic, nurturing not just future athletes but confident young leaders. Our visit reaffirmed the vision behind the academy, empowering the girl child through opportunity, mentorship, and relief. Still in sports, La Liga is reportedly finalizing a streaming partnership with Disney for the UK and Ireland, signaling a major shift in its international broadcast strategy, according to the Financial Times. The deal would allow Disney Plus to stream one La Liga match per week, expanding the platform's footprint in live sports. The agreement is part of a broader rights package valued at under €20 million. Annually, the Spanish League existing broadcaster Premier Sports will retain rights to air over 300 matches per season in the region. However, Disney Plus is expected to focus on marquee fixtures involving global giants like Barcelona and Real Madrid. If confirmed, the deal would mark Disney Plus's most significant move into European football, blending entertainment with live sports to attract younger audiences. Now that's a wrap on the news, but before we go, here's a recap of today's top stories. Nigeria in search for alternative market as President Donald Trump tariffs takes effect. Nigeria and China advances trade relations to unlock $2 billion maritime investment. And President Donald Trump and Cyril Ramaphosa engages another turn of trade talks as U.S. imposes 30% tariff on South Africa. And Brazil challenges President Donald Trump's tariff at the World Trade Organization. And in sports, we did told you that Oshoala visit the Football Academy reaffirms upliftment of young girls in sports. Many thanks for watching. Now do well to follow us on all our social media platforms at SOUQ News TV. I'm Oyin Priye Krumale. Good afternoon to you. you.